Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psych Investigator. So, guys, I just did a video about Marjorie Taylor Greene retiring, and I posted it. So, if you haven't watched that, go check it out. I'll leave the link below under the comments, okay? Where I usually leave the timestamps. So, so uh, the interesting development today that Trump had a meeting with Mamdani in the Oval Office. And people are surprised by it. He hadn't, I mean, this was supposed, he had announced it before. And and so, I mean, Trump did announce it. It's not a surprise that it was going to happen, but seeing the images is a little bit interesting. And it's also interesting when this is there's a theory of the horseshoe, so-called horseshoe theory, right? That the far right and the far left are connected. I'm not saying, I think Mondani was the best candidate in a lot of ways, but let's not forget that they have some, so that may be something they have in common, to be honest with you. I mean, um okay, don't forget that. Okay, I think it's, like I said, I do think Mondani is great in a lot of ways, but we don't know who he is yet as a politician, right? And this is also what Russia does, right? They support the far left and the far right, usually. I'm not saying that we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll think about it, but it's just interesting, right? That that we have that. So, all right. So, and I have to tell you this. I did a look into it. There was somebody earlier today on the phone, and I think, remember how Trump had a meeting with MBS, and and there was an article in the Wall Street Journal actually saying that, I don't know if it was Financial Times. I think it was Wall Street Journal actually saying how he's giving more and more space to MBS in the world stage, right? Because that's what happens when he comes to the White House and basically dictates a lot of things, and the whole peace plan in the Middle East is like the Saudis are playing a big part in this. So and so and so when I looked at I'll see what I see today. When I looked at it, I thought that Trump also wants to make himself look good in front of the Middle East, even though you may or may not know this, Mamdani is Shia, meaning he's connected to Iran. So it's something you should know. I mean, not everybody knows this, but it's very important. Okay, that Shia Muslims are they are by definition connected to Iran, because the high priest of Shia Islam is the head of Iran. I think it's the Ayatollah, right? I'm pretty sure. Okay, so there's no separation. Does that make sense? So if you are Shia Muslim, I mean, you don't have to agree with the government of Iran necessarily, but it's like, imagine if the Pope were a head of a government, if you're Catholic, right? Um, and your religion, like, the thing about what's really interesting about the difference between Shia Islam and Sunnis. Sunnis are the large majority of Muslims all over the world. Is that in Shia Islam you have this, like, the one commander, right? But in Sunni, you don't have that in the Sunni world. So that's the part of Islam that brought Al Qaeda, and they're not connected. Okay, I'm saying this that I saw. I'm just explaining all of this to you because I had seen Trump wanting to make some kind of connection to Mamdani after the Saudis came, because he wanted to show. But even though he doesn't, I don't think Trump cares or knows really that they're not connected at all. In fact, the Saudis are long-term enemies of Iran. So we're just saying that, okay? So, all right, so let's see. I like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle, I create a circle. I step into it, I step into it. I feel protected, I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that I create the good and the good inside this. Okay, so let's see. Let's see this story here. What? Let's actually watch some things here with Keith Edwards. Subscribe to his channel. I really like his channel. It's a news channel like the Midas Touch and others. Okay, but let's see. Okay, so let's listen.
Want to catch a live stream is the best way. Now, there's a few things that have come out of this from that meeting now that it's kind of trickled in. First off, they are pissed. The right's pissed. And he kind of blew up the right's whole 2026 plan, which is to call Mamdani a socialist and say he's a communist. And now we have folks on the right kind of unsure of how to handle Mamdani and how to move forward now that Donald Trump has kind of played nice with Mamdani. But as Jasmine Crockett said, he uses you as quickly as he will use you for as long as you're useful. The second you're not, he'll cast you aside. He's done that to almost everyone. So though this was great to see that Donald Trump and Mamdani got along, it doesn't mean anything. But here's the moment that is going to haunt Elise Stefanik's campaign.
Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that, but I don't particularly, I think...
Okay, so I was not going to get into a lot of the Elise Stefanik. But by the way, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and press like. I always forget to say that. Anyway, so that was just so strange, right? And so let's see what happened, because you could look at the body language of Mamdani. He was very uncomfortable. And I think he's the type of person, from what I've watched, I think he's a real politician, in the sense that he wants to make let's say connections or make deals or whatever, bring a lot of people in. And he likes to be popular, so he said yes and went. So what was the story here? And why did Trump, first of all, why didn't Trump invite him? And what happened in that meeting? Okay, so it's interesting. I think obviously he wants to have whoever the New York mayor is to be on his side. At the same time, see, there was this whole, how they're sending ICE over here to New York, and it's not popular at all. I think he's going to ask for something once he comes back to New York. Mamdani, that is. But I think he was charmed in how he lost. He made everybody else lose. I think Trump recognizes the star power of Mamdani, and he's curious about it. I also feel like I feel like Trump knows he's on his way out, so he's kind of sabotaging everybody, including the Democrats, because Keith Edwards was saying that the Democrats were holding some kind of vote on like saying something bad about socialism. And I feel like you don't have to agree with socialism or anything, but it's so strange to me. There's so many things, instead of fighting Republicans, they're doing that. It just sounds it's so bizarre to me, honestly. So it's a weird time in politics where things are shifting. Okay. So anyway, I think, again, I see the image of MBS. I think, in a way, I think that MBS has taken over as his main, more than Russians, more than anything, as his own Trump's main backer. So, in his mind, I'm not saying, like I said earlier, I don't think he realizes, I don't think he cares, honestly, about the differences between Sunni, Shia. He thinks, honestly, it's probably the same. And I think he wants to show the Arab world, I'm serious about it actually, that he is doing the right thing. And I think, and it tells me the whole, he needs praise constantly, Trump does. And he likes how he was treated after the deal of the Gaza deal, so-called deal, let's just say it like this. And Jared and MBS is giving a lot of money to Jared. Jared is involved in a lot of this. And and so it's, I know it sounds a little strange, but that's what I'm getting. Okay. All right. So, but they just, guys, Elise Stefanik is really one of the most unlikable people ever. And so she's running for governor. And it's like, are you kidding me? And and Keith Edwards is 100% right. And where he said that this is undermining, it's absolutely undermining her campaign, because she, a lot of these people are making Mamdani the number one enemy. They want terror, like, oh, he's a terrorist, here's this, here's that. And there he is with Trump, and Trump praising him. So if this creates a problem for her, I don't think she's, and Trump has betrayed her too. Remember how she lost the position. I think I forgot which role it was, but it's not. So let's see. Let's see what the cloud is say about it. Let me think here. Oh, and let's see here. The New York Times, actually, before I do that, the New York Times has been from day one very, very, very anti-Mamdani. But now they have to write something. It's funny. The Trump Mamdani buddy movie, it's getting mixed reviews. Zohran Mamdani and President Trump seem to cast aside their mouths months of treated insults. A development that seemed good for New York City, but odd to some followers. And I have to say, I don't think that Mamdani was nearly as mean to Trump or horrible to him as everybody else was to Mamdani. But okay, when reporters tried to interrupt an expected buddy movie, President Trump warmly placed his hand on Mamdani's arm and gently advised him to keep it simple in a response to a question about whether Mr. Mamdani considered him a fascist. You can just say yes, the president said. I didn't see that, but I didn't watch it for the full thing, really, to be honest. It says there. Wow. I mean, it did seem like a bit of a bromance. Nicole Maliotakis, the Republican congresswoman from the conservative stronghold of Staten Island, based on the election results, we knew Mamdani was charming, but who thought he'd be able to charm the president? All right, so Sid Rosenberg, a conservative talk radio show host who has interviewed Mr. Trump and whose suggestion that Mamdani would welcome another 9/11 attack became its own storyline in the mayor's race, said he was shocked at the president's reaction. He posted a video response prefaced by an expletive colored introduction conveying his disbelief. So, okay. All right. Okay, so all right, so let's stop sharing. We'll go here to we'll see what the cards have to say. It's always interesting. Oh, something quick. Okay, hold on a second. Sharon, okay. I'm burdening. Something, okay. Oh, look, that's right. The shady stuff with it. That's right. Now, okay, that makes sense. So the cards already are suggesting there's something like it's a way to change the subject from the Epstein files yet again. Wow, disgrace. Baby, that's right. Messages. That's right. See the messages. Unburdening of the house, like unburdening meaning somebody's sharing information about the messages related to the White House. And here stuff is coming out about dark stuff coming out about women and young baby, or in other words, children, right? And it's a disaster. So it's quickly the disaster. He knows the disaster is upon him. Trump, so he is changing the subject. Now, I want to say something before I get to the numbers. As I was reading these cards here, it occurred to me also. It came to me that Trump knows that something shocking is always how you make the news. So something very unexpected, people would talk about it. And he likes to keep people on their toes. So if they have something else, anything to write about other than some random tariffs and whatever, okay, that's good. So, all right, so then here, okay, so yeah, something guilty news coming out. So also the cards interestingly suggest very consistently so that there's really there are horrible things coming out about the Epstein files related to Trump. And he knows it. Okay, so I think he's trying to change the subject. So let's ask another question. I mean, I know that obviously Trump has attacked New York a lot, threatened New York. So what does this meeting mean for New York City? Is anything gonna, mean for, let's say, Mamdani in New York City? Let's say, what does this mean? I don't mean in terms of the propaganda aspect. I mean in reality. Does it affect anything? Trying to move on. Okay, you know what? Did I shuffle? No, I just shuffle. Because I saw whenever I pull cards that I had already, I'm like, did I shuffle or not? Let's just do it. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Family values a man. Okay. Like, all right. How is this gonna? Okay. Snake. That's right. Woman. Again, the women stuff. Okay. Here, unexperienced women. Here, the bed. And plans, ideas about that. He's thinking of that. So, what else? A long time. Lies about the man. So, honestly, again, guys, the cards don't say anything about New York City. It just talks again about what's happening with the files and how harmful they are to Trump. Okay. And that's a way for him to, I think, change conversation. That's really all it is. That's what I get. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go and have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.